Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And it is time to talk about this new upcoming Slipknot album, Point 5, The Great Chapter. 2 songs have been released, and there's already bitching about Slipknot. Now, before everybody, gets out of hand here and thinks, I'm going to come here and defend Slipknot fans, you got another thing coming. I love Slipknot. They're one of my faves. I have listened to the band since the year 2000, and I think that, their style of music is unique. I've never really seen another band successfully replicate their sound. There's a lot of people who say that they rip people off, but, everyone's influenced in music. Everybody sounds like somebody else. It's bound to happen. When you're playing notes, certain notes and certain patterns are going to sound alike at times, or very similar. That's just how music theory is. Now, Slipknot has gotten so much criticism over the years, and some of it's very unwarranted. A lot of their music is very memorable. The riffs are great, they're memorable. A lot of the lyrics are very memorable. And, at the end of the day, Slipknot makes you remember who they are. They make you remember their names. And a lot of bands throughout the years haven't managed to do that. There's a lot of bands that, we've forgotten about, and we can't even remember their names because their music was so forgettable and unoriginal. But Slipknot has managed to really, carve a niche into the annals of history of metal. Now, the only problem I have with a lot of Slipknot fans, just to get started here, is that they consider Slipknot to be the heaviest band of all time. And when there's bands out there like Morbid Angel, Dying Fetus, you have a little bit too much competition out there. Bands like Mayhem, Goat Horde, just, when there's a whole genre of death metal, which Slipknot sometimes uses certain death metal influence, it doesn't even come really all that close to traditional death metal, which is undoubtedly the heaviest style of all time. I mean, I don't think the vocals get harsher and the riffs get heavier when it comes to death metal. So that's really far-fetched when they're saying that Slipknot is the heaviest band of all time. That's just simply not true. So we've got 2 songs, The Negative One and The Devil and I. And both of these songs are pretty good. I enjoy both of them. Now, they promised on this album, that this was going to be a mixture of Iowa and Volume 3 to Subliminal Verses. Now, all Slipknot fans, they all complained, they bashed their own band even, saying that they want Iowa. They claim that, Slipknot should have never deviated from the style of Iowa. Even though Slipknot expanded. And, people complained they didn't have solos, so they put solos in the music. And still, the core fan base complained that, they got their wish, they wanted solos, but then they wanted them to go back to Iowa. Pretty much you can't satisfy any motherfuckers on this planet. We want solos, we want solos. Oh, okay, we'll give you solos, okay? Jim Root and Mick Thompson, they come up with some pretty suitable solos for the songs. And then people say that these solos are just thrown together and they're just playing scales. Well, I think that's music theory. You're playing notes within the scale and, in a certain pattern. And that is a solo. It's just how music theory is. So you're going to have to argue with music theory. Don't argue with Slipknot if you're going to question what a solo is. It's quite clear that those are solos. Now, whether you want to say the solo is bad or good, it's really up to you. But really, at the end of the day, they are solos, and Slipknot gave them to you because you fucking complained. And, pretty much they probably took the criticism and said, you know what? They're right. We should expand our sound. We should probably put some more traditional rock and roll elements into our music, some traditional heavy metal elements, and that's what they did. And, they also incorporated some clean vocals. Now, Corey Taylor had been working on the side project for the longest time called Stone Sour. So whenever anyone hears any clean vocals, everyone goes, "That's Stone Sour, this ain't Slipknot." Of course, everyone complained about the screaming and yelling. So what did Corey Taylor do? He brought elements of Stone Sour into Slipknot. Some clean vocals. Just so every now and then he could deviate from the harsh vocals and switch up. You know, everyone does this. Mastodon has done it too. You know, and they've also gotten criticized. Clean vocals, you know, oh, there's no room for clean vocals in fucking heavy metal. You know, even though most of Metallica and Megadeth and all these popular bands have done clean vocals. Some of the most popular heavy metal bands of all time just pretty much do clean vocals. But we have a problem with this when Slipknot does clean vocals. You know, I guess this is because everybody doesn't like it. You know, everyone wants a band to always stay true to their roots. And we always hear this, you know, the biggest example is Metallica. Don't change the style. And, you know, and then when they change the style, everyone goes apeshit and said they should have stayed to the original style. But then when they go back to the original style, then everybody criticized them, you know, for going back to the original style, not being original. And then people will say that they're not being original enough because they've gone back to the original style and that they need to experiment. When they experiment, then they get criticized for that too. And that is just fucking ridiculous because that's exactly what Slipknot tried to do and tried to experiment. And I'm already seeing it with these songs, The Negative One and The Devil and I. You know, okay, so we've got two songs here, The Negative One, which is very, very Iowa-ish. It is very, very the heavy sound, not the heaviest, but it is heavy. We have some harsh vocals on here. So this is very Iowa-ish. People finally getting what they want. People complain, of course, the majority complain. You know, saying that it sounds too Iowa-ish. Even though people demanded that they wanted Iowa-ish music. But they still complain and say it's garbage. Even though that this is what they wanted. People are hanging around the YouTube video. So this is what I always ask the question. So if you don't like Slipknot in general, why are you fucking listening to the fucking song? I never understood this. People will just hang around the video. They will listen to it multiple times and just sit there saying, I hate this shit. But they will listen to it multiple times. And then you have a song, The Devil and I, which I think is a superior song to The Negative One. And why do I think this? Is because personally, for me, I think my favorite album from Slipknot was Volume 3, Subliminal Verses. And at first when I heard that album, I disliked it. I thought it was too much a deviation from the style. I was with all these other Slipknot fans that bitch, moaned, and complained when Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses came out, saying it was too much of a deviation from the original style. Even though Iowa was a bit of a deviation from the original style, which was on their self-titled album, there was no more, you know, songs like Spit It Out or Wait and Bleed. But everybody wanted Iowa. So we got the Iowa track and everybody complained. So then they released another track. And this one is Volume 3, Subliminal Verses. And we all knew this because Slipknot clearly said that their next album was going to be a mixture of the two. And I was very happy with that. Because I like Iowa. Not as much as I like Volume 3. Because I think Volume 3 had superior songwriting on it. I think it had better riffs. I think the songs flowed better. And I enjoyed Corey Taylor's, vocal variety. I think that is very important to have variety in your music as a band. You know, you can't just keep doing the same style. For some bands, yes, it might work for them, and some bands really shouldn't deviate from their style. But Corey Taylor's versatile, and and you've got Jim Root and then Mick Thompson. They're very versatile guitarists. They can do a lot of acoustic work, so there's no problem there. They are definitely not strapped for material when it comes to versatility and originality. So you got a very, very good, powerful opening riff on The Devil and I, and then you got clean vocals, and as soon as people hear those clean vocals, oh, it's getting sour. Oh, yeah. You know something? I like the way how this album is turning out. I like the fact that I'm hearing influences from Iowa, and I'm hearing influences from Volume 3 without them sounding too much the same as songs that are already on those albums. So I have really a positive outlook on this album. I think it's actually going to turn out to be a pretty decent album. And the fact of the matter is we haven't had a Slipknot album in 6 fucking years. So I think we should be a little bit happy that we're getting some new material from these guys. So, you know what I mean? This is the guy on YouTube who, for the most part, talks a lot of negative shit. But, when there is good shit, I praise it to the heavens. And I think that we're getting some good quality music here. And these are just 2 random tracks. They're just samplers off an album that's going to have like 12 plus tracks or something like that. So, you know, we could at least, you know, take a more positive look. I mean, people calling this garbage, it sounds Slipknot-ish. So I really don't see why everybody is bashing it so much. They're making like it's this fucking polka music that they're hearing, like Slipknot went techno or some shit. No, I don't hear any type of thing like that in here. So, yeah, I don't hear anything bad here. I'm hearing some pretty good quality material. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the great chapter. All right.